tell us, why did you choose Pilates?
Well, I chose Pilates because I had come here for recovery really after a big operation, cancer diagnosis and a big operation, and it left me very, very immobile, lacking in confidence. I came here for some physio, and then with the aim that I would like to join a Pilates class at the end of that, which I felt was like completely out of my reach really, but it was like, I'm going to try. And within 6 weeks of having physio, my physio said, I think you're ready to give it a try. So I did. So that's how I started.
Had you done Pilates before?
I'd done it at the gym before, which I'd never found a very satisfying experience, to be honest, for the reasons that lots of people say. Massive classes, you really don't feel like anybody's watching what you're doing. So specifically after having that operation, I thought I do not want to be doing things that are going to cause my body more harm than good. So I'd already written off doing a Pilates class in that sort of environment. I knew it had to be an environment with trained staff that was going to be able to watch what I was doing. So that's the main reason why I did it here really, and the main reason I would have had the confidence to do it at all was because of knowing that trained staff were here. It sort of fed through naturally from having the physiotherapy here to going into a class. It wasn't such a big leap, in terms of confidence. It was like, oh well, it's just in the same building, and it's and I felt very confident about trying it, and it was a great experience even from the first class. I'd say after even the first class, I felt like I've conquered a demon here. I've actually done it, and it was a lovely feeling because it's often it's that barrier of that first time is the worst, isn't it? To get over that, I'm not going to do it. So I had a lovely feeling of, I've done it, and I was really pleased with myself. And then, obviously, one class is not going to change your body or whatever. But even from the first one, it was really nice to know that. Things like I had to have a couple of the exercises adapted for me because I couldn't manage to do those exercises, and there was no fuss. I wasn't made to feel like I was standing out or made to feel different or unable to do things. And I definitely came out of even that first class hugely more confident, and I had no doubts after that first class. This is it. I'm going to carry on with this. So that was
lovely to hear.
Yeah.
Even from
really,
just one visit. In that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all the fears were sort of put to bed really after that first one, because I thought, well, if I can do that in what was quite a bad state after an operation, it can only get better from here, and it has.
What's the comparison? How do you feel now versus when you first started with us?
Well, 100% a lot more mobile. Confidence, as we've said, I wouldn't worry at all about going into a class and what I can manage. I feel like I can cope with any exercises that anybody else can. In terms of physically, I think I've got a lot more core strength from this. My core strength, I had an operation on my stomach, and I've got a huge scar, and my core strength around that area is, I'd say back to where it was before.
Oh, wow.
Which is amazing.
Impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, and just mobility and flexibility, I would say, is probably better than it's ever been before, because I wasn't really doing any exercises before my operation. So yeah, flexibility, core strength, confidence.
Well, what could you ask for?
Yeah, and it's totally sustainable. You don't feel like it's something that is only for a short period of time. It is something that you just know is going to affect you positively, for the rest of your life, hopefully. I know in my class there's a couple of ladies that are, older than me, and they've been saying they've been coming for years, like 20 years or something like that, and doing Pilates. And incredibly flexible, mobile, so it's quite inspirational really to think that it's that sort of exercise. It's not going to be limited you know, to an age range or an ability range. It's sort of there for everyone, which is, really nice. And you can see things like the balance is worked on quite a lot, which, you know, initially you think, well, that's not that important, but after a while you realise how important that is. And I know that my balance has become, you know, I would never have been able to like stand on one leg or anything for any length of time, but I can now. And, you know, that kind of thing, I know that will help me as I get older as well, you know, in terms of falls, in terms of just getting around and being able to live an active life for the rest of my life. Very comfortable environment. It's a big room, plenty of space, and it's always limited on the numbers. They never try and push in more people than is comfortable. So it's just a very comfortable room. It's they've got mirrors. It's easy to see yourself, to see if the positions that you've got are correct. It's always just a pleasant environment to be in. I would say it's probably a combination of factors of, you know, all the staff are lovely, you know, right from the reception desk. You always get a lovely greeting from Dawn, you know, she's absolutely lovely, and she always seems to know what to say to people and how to approach people, which is a real skill, isn't it? And it's just a very friendly environment from the minute you step in, so you feel relaxed. And then after the class I always feel really pleased that I've done it. I feel uplifted and, you know, really energised. So I think that's what I enjoy about coming. It's a really brilliant start to the day. For me, it was lifting me up from a very low place after having had an operation. And that whole thing, you know, it was part of my journey back to health. It was a massive part, really, both on the physio side and just realising I can join a class with other people. You know, it was a really massive boost for me to get me back, you know, feeling better than I ever felt before, to be honest. So
happy and lifted.
Absolutely. Always recommend you. If anybody asks about Pilates, I always recommend coming here.
What do you say to people?
I say because, as I've sort of said in the previous questions, it's the fact that it's trained staff. They know what they're doing. They're not people who have just done a short course on Pilates and don't really understand the body. They really understand your body and how you could injure yourself, and you know that that's not going to happen. So it's that confidence of knowing you're in good hands. It's the small groups, you know there's never going to be more than, say, 12 people, 10, 8, 10, 12, and that's nice as well, because, as I say, when I've been to gyms before, I mean, you could be in there with 50 people.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
So it's just not a nice experience. Friendliness and flexibility of the classes is good as well, that if you can't make one class you can shift to another class. That's really good. I think it's excellent value for money, I really do. I think, you know, if you, as a monthly outgoing, it far outweighs what you pay. You get so much more benefit to it. So that's what I would say. I'd always recommend it.
You are very much one of our ambassadors. Lovely words, Jess, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you with us.
No, it's all true, and it's all how I feel. So, it's been a big part of my journey.